Hey. Okay.
Oh, we is prompt and ready. This the first time black folks done been on time. You
Look,
know,
I'm never even on time for my own life.
it's a miracle. Cause you know what? I ain't on time for nothing either. Let's see. How are
I'm
you?
doing well, no complaints, no complaints. How are you?
I am doing well. I'm ready to graduate.
Oh, I understand.
Senioritis is a different senioritis when you in
Mhm.
college. In high school, it ain't nothing, but in college,
Let me go ahead and share that to my page too.
yeah, that's what I was trying to do over here. I got my laptop up. Oh, my pillow's falling. My
Oh,
internet is slow. Hey y'all, I can't see who. Why nigga don't show like who popping in? I can't see. Hold on, let's see. I'm just going down my list screen inviting folks. I just okay there.
yeah,
I
I
see.
posted it on mine. On my page.
Hey, I can never say hey
Hey,
Noel. Come on in, girl. Come on in. Come on, have a seat, cause we finna talk.
you gonna take a second and chat. I'm ready.
I always feel like I'm so nervous to get on live, cause I
It's
never
wild. Same,
I
same.
don't never show my face really on social media. I feel like I go under a rock, then I come back like, "Hey y'all, it's me. I'm back," and I go back under my rock. And
I
so
did.
I'm trying to find a balance. I'm gonna do better. I'm gonna do better showing my face. So if you do not want to share to,
You share it, I think. I can't tell you. I don't have a laptop in front
you know what, this old raggedy bald head devil,
of me.
you he ain't gonna get in the way. You gonna share my post today, Facebook. Hey Ashanay. Hey girl, I ain't seen you in so long. Well, so how's the weather down there?
Oh, beautiful to say the least. Um, it's just real sunny. I think it was like 90 degrees today.
Oh, I
So
wish. I walked outside there. It was cold outside. I said, wait a minute now.
maybe it's just from all the rain. And isn't it raining? Isn't it like storming? Isn't it storming like yesterday?
Yes.
Yeah.
And also in Starkville, they have so many tornadoes,
Oh, yeah.
tornado watches. It don't nothing actually happens.
Well, that's good. That's good.
It is, but I get so tired of the little alarm going off and
And them Apple alarms are just different. Like them, even like the
yes.
Android alert alarms, they just so different. Like they so loud and aggressive. But I
Yeah,
get it.
you think something going on, you be like, oh
Right. And
shoot.
you like, wait, I'm scared just from the alarm. Like I don't even know what the message is.
Yeah.
The alarm has me shook.
I was scared to take my puppy outside. I was like, they ain't finna get me in the tornado. Chanel gonna be what's the dog name from Wizard of Oz? Toto. She gonna be Toto out there by out there by herself. Cause they weren't finna get me. I am excited. It's 6 o'clock, close to 6 o'clock. Welcome, everybody. If you are watching, I am excited. This is our first episode of BOOGEE TALK. Woo! BOOGEE TALK has always been in the original plan of BOOGEE, but it was one of those things. I started running fast and I got weary and I just put it all down and it just never came back to mind. Or either when I was in the process of trying to create a video, it didn't feel right. I felt like it was being forced. It wasn't an authentic conversation. And plus, I was telling a friend earlier, I didn't feel like I was actually pulling in from experience. I was just talking based off of, words God have given me. And it's different when you speak from words God given you than actually going through the experience and then those words kind of correlating, like you like, oh, I get it now. And so I'm in the place in life where I'm saying, I get it now, God. Rejection. The name of this episode is Rejection is a Redirection. And lately, rejection has been biting me in the butt, like bad. Um, I've experienced, we all experience rejection. I experienced it before, but it seems like as you get older, it's kind of, how can I say it? The time to recuperate is a little bit longer. It's a little bit kind of a tough process as you get older. When you're younger, you're kind of resilient and kind of just bounce off your back like a bouncy ball. When you're older, you actually have like, I have to deal with this because if I don't, it's going to be either some things connected to me and the consequence to them not going to be good, or either I'm going to go through life just feeling like I'm just this lonely child, and it's not the case because I've learned that rejection is not supposed to do that to you. It's not supposed to make you feel like you're a lonely child, like you're not wanting this world, just any case that may be. The roots of rejection, now that's a different story, but rejection in itself is never supposed to make you feel just, I guess, isolated. And I normally, when I'm rejected, I isolate myself. And so I've learned that in this season, all things of me being rejected, it was a redirection towards something else. My focus was should be directed somewhere else. So I'm excited because I have a very special guest. I have. So let me ask, how you want your name be pronounced in this episode? How?
Um, you can just say Lundy to keep it short. It's
Okay.
yeah.
Okay. Okay. So we have Mr. Lundy TV himself. What's up?
What's up?
What's going on?
Nothing. Excited to be in this space. Hopefully something said is going to be really heard and applied to whoever needs it.
Yes, I feel like we're best friends in my head because honestly,
Let's go with that. Let's make
I
that
feel like
real.
we're best. Yes. So y'all, we talked beforehand before we actually, went on live, and like, I don't know, it's just something by having people you can talk to and being authentic. You could be yourself, and I realized there have been times where I have not been the authentic Shania. I'm loud, and we talked about this before. I'm loud. I'm all kind of a burst of energy, and to be around him, he pulled that out of me. And normally I try to reserve that and just be like, yeah, whatever. But I'm excited because I really feel like bougie talking just in general, this is gonna get me out my shell, out my space. Um, there's a story with it too. I feel like one of the reasons why I'm so much isolated in a shell is because rejection, not knowing how to deal with it. Being around people who necessarily the mind space of rejection help you to see that some things you don't have to isolate yourself from. So yeah, that is all in the conversation we're going to have. So let me ask you, how would you define rejection?
Okay. Just in, I guess, common terms, not receiving the outcome you thought, right? So that could come from job interviews, dating, um, like schools, like a lot of different things. Like basically but
Yeah.
going after an opportunity and not getting the result that you want. That's how I would describe rejection.
Would you consider rejection necessarily like not getting your way? Like,
Not necessarily when you say not getting your way, it makes it seem like it's coming from a space of, you know, I deserve to well, not a space of um being spoiled, I guess, but like thinking
yeah,
that you should have everything that you ask for because I mean it just doesn't work like that. Like nobody gets everything that they ask for. Um so I would say that it's really not getting your way. I think it's just not getting what you expect.
yeah.
You know, like I think just changing that little terminology makes all of it.
The reason I ask that, I'm starting to see sometimes like even being young, when you're younger, rejection sometimes comes in a way like you're not getting your way, if that makes sense.
Yeah,
Feeling like the need to like and I feel like that's a conversation we all need to have, like, if we have younger siblings or cousins, talking to like everything is not always going to be like go your way. I feel like up until like a certain point, we all are like sheltered, and everything that we ask is given to us. In some cases, or either if we pursue something, we're most likely to get it or whatever. Just in that space, and I'm really talking from like in a high school perspective. In high school, you can you know go after all these things, and it's something given to you, but like when you actually in retrospect you go into like, I guess, that transition to adulthood, you start realizing like it's real. Like rejection is, in sense, it comes to as if I'm not getting my way, or like it's not given to me. If that might make a sense. Make sense. Okay. And so that was just a question. It kind of, when I was preparing for this, kind of came across, is rejection what you consider it not getting your way?
yeah,
Um, so I like how you define rejection. A lot of times, I don't know. I feel like reject is one of those words that got a funny taste in your mouth because, when you say, "Oh, I was rejected," or something like this, like, "Oh no," when da 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 da. But really, truthfully, rejection is like what you didn't expect it, like you said, something you didn't expect or what you expected. So,
one thing I would say
my
is
next question. Mhm.
I was going to say one thing that I would say is also is to realize that rejection is very normal. I think that's another thing that
Mhm.
sour taste in your mouth is not understanding that like this is a normal experience. Like
Yes.
again, everybody's been rejected. Nobody gets exactly what they want, and it's nothing to take personally. Um, Especially if you're looking at it in a professional aspect or looking at a like just opportunity for starting business or whatever that is. Like I just think that you know not taking it so personal helps with the blow of rejection. Because regardless of how we define it, what we say about it, it still impacts you in a negative way because it just doesn't feel good,
Mhm.
right? Like it just doesn't feel
It's
good.
uncomfortable.
Why it's very uncomfortable. And so as we're talking about, rejection and stigma, like the redirection part, I think that in itself is a process, right?
Yeah.
Like taking the rejection and then saying, okay, what do I do? Like what do I do with that? To get to that stage is just a process in itself. Um, and I think it's interesting to see how people arrive there, at different times,
Hmm.
different spaces, like, how long,
Yeah.
you don't want it to be a long process because, okay, you want to have that resilience when we're younger. Okay, this don't work, I
Hmm.
just move on to the next thing. You want to have that. And shout out to the people that got that, right? People out there who have that type of energy cannot relate, right? Like, I
Yeah.
literally need to take a second. I know you were mentioning, isolated. I know I don't necessarily isolate, but these are those things like, okay, I need a moment.
Yeah.
Like I just need a
Need to
moment.
breathe.
Yeah. So I think that's another thing that kind of like helps to get started when we understand that rejection is very, very, very normal.
I like that you mentioned something. I want to go back. You mentioned don't take it personal. So let's talk about this. That was actually my next question. What are some of the things you do, or like what, in the aspect when you're rejected, how do you deal with it? And I feel like a lot of times when we are rejected with something, we take it personal. Let's talk about that. I feel for me, personally me, I take stuff personal because I don't know. And since I feel like I'm a genuine person, when I show up for you and I show out. And so, something as in rejection, just like really in professional relationships, anything like that, I feel like, if there's a teeny bit of like rejection, I take it personal. It's like, wow, what did I do wrong? Or what is it that I need to, evaluate to correct this? And I start to realize that is not really, is more of a people pleasing thing, wanting to please in the spaces, and realizing it's actually like God just placed, like, when you're rejected sometimes in these situations, you take it personal because you're so busy trying to show up for them. How about you take a different space and you show up for me and see, like the difference in that. And so I've been doing that. I'm noticing how, I don't know, they flow better. You don't have expectations. I feel like sometimes when we go into stuff, we have expectations about everything. Not saying, you shouldn't have values or whatever,
Right.
expect expect the great. Expect the greatest thing when you show up to places. But another thing I realized, you can't expect the most, if that makes sense. So I really like how you mentioned, taking it personal, because I personally, for females, I feel like sometimes we take stuff too personal, and
Yeah.
it's not meant to be taken that personal. Sometimes it's meant for, a wake up call, like, this is what is happening. I need you to try to redirect their focus to elsewhere, somewhere else. Especially in relationships. I feel like that's where it's taken the most personal. So,
Nothing wrong self. There's nothing wrong with self-fiction, right? There's nothing wrong
mhm,
with taking a situation where you didn't get that outcome and then doing some inside work to say, okay, where are the areas which I can, what I'm saying? Like, so if we're talking
mhm,
about introspection, so if we're talking about,
mhm.
again, like doing that work and saying, okay, I can do better, I'm saying, like, I can do that. I think that's also a part of the process, I'm saying, like a redirection, whatnot, but I do want to mention it, like, taking it personal isn't using introspection, because that's
Yeah.
good. We need to do it. I'm saying? Like, we need evaluate our own selves to see, okay, could I have been better in an area? And I think that's a hard truth, right? Is when
It
we
it's
get rejected from something and it is on, like, it is like, well, I wasn't my best self. For instance, what I'm saying? Like, if we in the job, job interview process, what I'm saying? Like, so you
yeah.
showed up, even if it was 3 minutes late to an interview, you know what I'm saying? Like, that matters. So it's introspection to say, well, maybe if I was, time, so like those are things that can help us moving forward. Now, also, again, that's a process to even arrive right there. Because the
Mhm.
emotion that you have when you don't get what you, well, I'm saying you don't do what you don't get the expected outcome, that emotion that you have, especially when it's something that you really want. You
Mhm.
know, like, so when it is a job interview, when it is an opportunity to move, when it is, a school acceptance letter, you know what I'm saying? Like, when you're
Yeah.
expecting those things, it's a hard blow when you don't get it. That shit's real.
Yeah.
Like, that shit's real. Especially when you do feel like you've done the work. But yeah, I just want to just to make mention that introspection is great. We do need to do our own self-reflection and inside work when we are presented with missed opportunities.
Mhm.
Um, so yeah, I did want, like I said, I did want to mention
I love that. How do pronounce it one more time? Introspective. Is that what you said? Another.
introspection.
Nothing. You going in and out a little bit. I can hear you. I'm not sure if it's the air. It might be my AirPods, but you're going in and out a little bit too.
Okay, let me just make sure my Wi-Fi and all that is right. Um, and I may can take these AirPods out. Can you hear me now? Okay, cool.
That's better. So interesting. I like that. I never heard that before. See, you're teaching me something new.
Yeah.
Something new, y'all. So, y'all that are watching, did you know that word? Put it in the comments below if you knew that. Because I did not know that. I feel like I gained knowledge today. So, rejection or redirection. One thing I want to talk about is mindset in the midst of rejection. I feel like that's so important because our mind, literally, your mind can take you to the most terrible place ever if you do not zone it all in. And like you mentioned earlier, like needing to take a step back and like I need a breath, like I just need to breathe to figure things out. Um, I'm starting to realize the mindset sometimes when rejection is set place, specifically in this generation, it's I don't know, the tone of like I guess you could say the tone to responding to the rejection. It's one of those tones. My grandma always said it was a hard heart, if that makes sense. It's like people's hearts are hardened towards like the event that has happened to them, and nothing nothing matters besides that. Oh, nothing matters from which the event of the rejection happens. And so I'm starting to realize after, let me also tell y'all this, y'all. Leading up to this, I experienced my own about 2 weeks of rejection, applying to jobs, hearing no, um, realizing that I'm finna graduate and like life is calling me, and to go through literally 2 weeks of that, and also within relationships as well, that was a low blow. I felt I was telling my friend I feel like at one point I feel like I don't know I was just stripped of like everything. She was like, "Why do you feel like you were stripped of everything?" I just like, I don't know. I feel like I worked hard for it. And she was like, maybe it's your mindset. Maybe you weren't stripped from everything. Maybe you were stripped from the things that needed to be out of your life. In regards to relationship and as well as with the job, maybe that wasn't the place for you to be at.
Right.
And with her saying that, I was like, dang, I'm sitting up here in a funk, just woe is me and everything, and it's just like,
Right.
wait a minute, maybe I didn't need to be a part of this, because I'm starting to realize too that's another thing, kind of, that's another topic, but when you realize your worth and your light and who you are, it doesn't deserve to be everywhere. You applying to all these things, applying to all these jobs, maybe it didn't deserve to be there because it's so sacred in sense that it needs to be perfect timing. It needs to be in the place where it was called to be. And so, tell me, what is your mindset when dealing with rejection?
Okay. Let me put this with you. I, as someone, I am very emotional.
Mm-hmm.
So it at first, when we first arrived to the rejection, when we first, you know, I'm automatically thinking 1,000 different things at one time because
Yeah.
now it comes into what the first thing is always, so what am I going to do next? Like I
Mm-hmm.
live in the future, which is a blessing and a curse. Like I never, if I'm
Yeah.
working on, I used to never, try to be present and just worry about.
I don't mean to cut you off, but someone said, take your headphones out. I think you're going in and out again. Yeah, you're going in and out. Let's see how they work. I can't hear you. Hold on, say something one more time. Hold on. I see your lips moving. I don't know what you're
So
saying
what you
though.
saying though? It's better. Can you hear me now?
Yes. Yes, that's better. Yes.
Okay, great. Um, so yeah, when we first arrived to, rejection for me, something that, I'm always thinking about what's next. What am I going to do next?
Mhm.
Um, how am I going to get to that space? And then trying to, I always try to have the mindset that what you were just mentioning with your friend is, okay, looking at it a different way. And that's something that, shout out to my mama, that's something that she's always worked with me on in regards to like faith, in regards to, not taking things for what they look like always. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Learning how to expect the things that you want, even when it's not right now. So for you, the goal
Yeah.
is you want a job, right? You're looking
Mhm.
for a job. So regardless of if it's 20 interviews and 19 of them say no, if the end goal, if the end of it, I have a job, then I've reached the goal, right? So I think
Mhm.
that is something that has helped me is really just saying, okay, consistency, keep going. You know what I'm saying? Like, okay, yeah, these people told you no, or this happened, it didn't go the right way. Okay, what's next? So that's why I say with the living in the future and always thinking about like the next thing that's a blessing and a curse, because when you
Mhm.
do have that type of mindset, it allows you to keep going. It
Yeah.
allows you to create consistency about yourself and determination. And I think that's a good thing to have when you're trying to accomplish any goal. You know what I'm saying? Because everything isn't just going to happen like a domino effect.
Yeah.
Like that's just not real life. And I know that we live in an age of social media and comparison and not even intentionally, right? You have people who are just posting what's happening in their life, and you have people, who aren't posting what's happening in their life because it's not what they want to be experiencing, or it's not the outcomes of what they want. So living in a world like that where we're seeing so many finished products, by the time it
Yeah.
gets to us, we don't know what has happened for them to arrive there. And
That's
so
good.
when you look from your standpoint in your space of, dang, these people just posted about how they got their dream job and I can't find a job. And it just makes you do that unnecessary comparison that it tricks your mindset to think, yeah, because it's you. You know what I'm saying? Like, and it's unfortunate. It's unfortunate, but we human. And these
Mhm.
are normal human responses. And it's like, that's the moment that you have to choose which mindset, which road am I going to take? Am I going to say, okay, if I keep thinking about this way, I'm going to be sad. And that's just it. If I keep
Yeah.
taking it personally, I'm only going to be sad. Like I'm not going to feel better thinking about it that way. So when we shift our mindset to say, like you mentioned, okay, maybe that wasn't the place for me. Maybe something is going to be better. People, it says God promises are always yes and amen. So like always knowing that it's something is going to happen. You know what I'm saying? Even if it's not what we envisioned it right down to the T,
Mhm.
again, that's the redirection part of, things not always being how we view it, but sometimes being better. And I know for me personally, everything that I've ever wanted, prayed about, asked for, even in being rejected from it, it always turned out to be
Better.
better than I
Yeah.
asked for it every single time.
That's good. You know, my grandma used to always tell me God never tells you no because he's a loving God. He's almost like the father when you're in the candy store, you ask for the candy. He's gonna let you get the candy. But the thing about it is when you get the candy, the taste might not be as sweet as you want it, but what he's gonna do, he might appear with another candy bar behind it and it's gonna be sweeter and it's gonna be just
Mm-hmm.
what you imagine. And so realizing like instead when she told me that when I was young, I was like, what? That you what? What is going on? What?
Look,
What she,
all this
she
candy, how do we get to this? Like,
yeah, like what? And now realizing I hear myself saying sometimes throughout my day, I'm like, God, this is sweet. This candy bar is sweet. Like this is sweet. And I sometimes hear myself like, God, keep me light. Like just keep me light as I go through this process. And I think
mhm.
that's a prayer. I'm realizing that I didn't know needed to be incorporated in my life at the moment to keep me light. Because I feel like sometimes, like you said, when we kind of internalize it, it becomes heavy. And like you
Mhm.
look back, and another thing, if you don't know how to really, work through, whatever you might have been rejected from, and keep internalizing, you'll look up to 4, 5, 10 years later, you're still holding on to that burden, to that heaviness, and you're still like, you're not operating your full authentic self just
Right.
because you're too afraid of, well, when I applied for this last time, they said no, but I can't do that to myself again, so I'm leading along. Like living in that burden, that internalizing that rejection from the first time. Whereas, they didn't accept me this time, but I'm gonna come back. I'm gonna show them I'm consistent and I really want this. So creating that I like what you said, creating, I think you said creating uh
Consistency.
yeah, creating consistency. I really like how you worded that.
Hmm.
So really looking at it, seeing how we can just create consistency in our lives.
Yeah.
So tell me, what, if you're willing to share, what has been like, I guess, your biggest, not necessarily rejection, but like you felt like was the biggest no, if that makes sense.
Got you. Okay. So recently, I don't know if this would even be the biggest, but I will say, because this is recent, so it's the first thing I thought
Mm-hmm.
about. So recently I was wanting to move. And of course, like, I think my close friends know this about me because I talk about it all the time. I want to live in Atlanta, Georgia. I just want to live there, for several reasons, of course, but we don't got to get into that. I want to live in Atlanta, Georgia. And so I was applying to a lot of jobs, a host of jobs down there or whatnot. And rejection is so funny because it's not like apply and then well, sometimes it can be like that, right? You can,
Mm-hmm.
apply and then just get the automatic email or get an email, thank you for applying, but we're moving on with other candidates. You know what I'm saying? Like it can be just that cutthroat and just that dry.
Yeah.
What's tricky is when you begin a process, right? So when it's like, okay, you apply for the job, they reach out and say, hey, you moved on to the next step. And then they say, hey, we want to get you for an interview. So when you go through and now it's building up this sense of anticipation. So now you're like, ooh, I'm into the, like, ooh, maybe this is it. Is this it? You know? And so that was my process for a while. And so I would have the interviews, you know what I'm saying? And they would be great. And it would either be what I needed to be included in my employment offer couldn't be accommodated, or well, that's really mostly what it was. It was just what I was asking for, they couldn't accommodate,
Mm-hmm.
and that was I feel like I'm like a different form of rejection because it was like, yeah, I could have, settled in a sense, like I could have like, tried to work around it, but I knew it wasn't going to be the best thing for me, right? Like it
Yeah.
just wasn't going to be the best thing for me. And even in that, it was still disappointing. Like it was like, no, I want this to work. I need this to work. And so that happened, about like, I think I did like 3 interviews. And then it shifted to where I got an offer, like I didn't even seek after this job. This job kind of came to me and it ended up being in Florida. Never
Mm-hmm.
thought about living in Florida. Never, even played about living in Florida because I mean, I like it to visit. It's a nice aesthetic, like it's a vibe, you know what I'm saying? But they're just not
Yeah.
where I want it to be. But when I tell you, from the first conversation that I had with the employer till today, like it's just been chef's kiss. Like it's just been so easy,
It
and it
was
was one of
everything
those
that you
things where
wanted.
Shania, literally
Everything.
everything. Even when I asked about the employer, what I was asking for from the other employers, it was easy. Yeah, that's fine, no problem. So piggybacking off of what we said earlier, that's how you know when it's your space to be in. That's how you know when it's right. because it's like the things, it's not even an obstacle. It's like, oh, okay, yeah, that's fine. You know, after going through so much, and then mention like what your grandma said, like it made it so much sweeter in a sense. Like
Yes.
just having to deal and persevere and be consistent, you know, especially when you got half of your mind saying it's not Atlanta, or you know, you sure you want to go this far? Like all of these now, even getting something new, you still got that stain, that heaviness from the past rejection that got you doubting the situation you're in now when it's literally just better. So that's why I always say like rejection is so tricky, because it's like it affects you in more ways than one.
Yes. I like you mentioned how when you were asking your employers for your offer, whatever, you were like, I just can't settle. I feel like they're like, even now in this like social media area, I feel like it's so easy for us to settle.
Yes.
But just for the simple fact of like, all right, it could be a job at McDonald's, or even not even a job, just wherever, you know, you have your idea, you know who you are, and your yes and your no's. And
Right.
it feels like sometimes we go through our list of yes and no's, and like we kind of check it off for like the wrong reasons, if that makes sense. Like we
Mm-hmm.
say yes to things that we said we would say no to. And it's so crazy because in sense we do that sometimes just for comfortability, like, oh, you know, I really don't want to cause a ruckus. I don't really want to, you know, stand firm, whatever the case may be. But I
Right.
love how you said, I had what I wanted, and this is what I'm standing on. And I feel like sometimes too in rejection, you can't find a sense of what you're standing firm on. It's literally like you'll take whatever piece of the cake that you can get just so you could taste, like you just want
Something. Yeah.
something from it that validates, you know, you in that moment. And so I love how you said, I stood on what I wanted and they could not offer it, and that was okay. And even in sense like how you were saying, like you were looking at, you know, it not being in Atlanta, you saw that what you wanted, it was there, and you were willing to take like that leap of faith to go in a different direction. I feel like sometimes we're not willing to like make that leap. It's almost like when
Yes.
we set our heart firm on something, when we set ourselves firm on something, we're on it. It's almost like the
Yeah.
foundation. We gonna sit on it until we can't sit on it no more, until finally the foundation is literally pulled from underneath us and we flat on our tail, like what
Right.
happened? And it's
Right.
almost like you saw that wasn't for you. You saw that foundation wasn't for you. But if you would have listened, you would have, you know, seen that, you know, the foundation was for you, was literally in what you said no, or like what your idea, you know, your idea
Yeah.
of it wasn't what it, you know, what you want it to be. And
Right.
so I love that. I feel like that it's something that really in this day we all need to hear, like stand firm on what you want. Stand
Know what
firm.
you want. Yeah. Like
Know what you
I
want.
think
Yes.
that makes rejection easier. I
Mm-hmm.
think when I know, okay, I know what I want, and so clearly this wasn't it. You know, like clearly this wasn't the thing. So on to the next, because I still want it. You
Mm-hmm.
know, like I still, for me, I knew I still wanted to. The ultimate thing, like I said, I did want to move to Atlanta. I need to mention that, but it was really I wanted a fresh start. So it really didn't matter, but I knew I
Where it
wanted a fresh
was.
start. And then the next thing under that was, okay, I want the fresh start in Atlanta. So having a plan, you know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? Like in whatever opportunity you're about to venture into, whether it's starting a brand, you know what I'm saying? Like whether it's starting a business, whether it's starting live videos, you know, like whatever it is, knowing what type of plan you want to have when you approach it, it makes it easier when you know where you're going. Um, to deal with rejection and having to be redirected, right? Like because like I
Yeah.
said, the end goal is still the same thing. Like the end goal is still always to be
in whatever space we see for ourselves. And so, yeah, I just wanted to say that.
Yes. That I really like how, I don't know, how you worded your story, because it's sticking with me now. I'm gonna carry this with me. I'm gonna go apply for another job. I'm gonna carry this. I'm like,
Please do.
I remember
I
he
promise
said,
you, and not even just because of, well, I mean, because I say that, of course, but because it helps us so much when we say, I control my emotions. Like,
yes,
I control how I perceive, receive things. It's on me. Of course, external things happen, but at the end of the day, how we view those things, how we take them in, is on us. So we can
yes,
take rejection as a thing of, you can take it as a positive. And but again, that takes that introspection. That takes that work. That's not easy. That's just not easy, especially if we've been keeping it a book and we're adults and we're talking about a job. We're talking about coin. We can't
yes,
even, like, that gotta happen. Like I said, you graduate, the next thing is happening. So it's like, I need this to work. And so it's
yes.
just an uncomfortable space when it's not. But that's when having that type of consistency, having that type of faith, having that type of drive separates you from the people who get it and the people who don't.
You don't. Yes.
That's what I always say. Like, it's not happenstance. It's not any of that. It's pure intentional consistency, intentional drive, intentional faith that gets people to the goal, to whatever that goal is. Like, that's what it is. Consistency,
That's it.
persistence breeds success. Like it goes hand in hand. You know, and rejection and success goes hand in hand. The queen herself, Beyonce, has not always had a yes. Like, these type of people don't always get everything that they want, you know. So yeah.
I feel like too, I feel like you hear more no's than you do yes though in life.
Of course. Oh
Realistic,
yes.
like you hear more no's than you do yes, but it's gonna take that. My dad told me this. I went to visit him this past week, and he was like, you know, Shania, you're gonna hear more no's than you ever hear yes, but it's gonna take that one yes that is gonna change your life. That
Yes.
one yes. And he was like, if you're not willing to carry the cross, you can't wear the crown. So unless you're
Yep.
willing to go through that process of carrying whatever the cross it is that may be to you, you you can wear that crown if you're willing to carry. But if you're not willing to carry, and that's another thing, a lot of us, we're not willing to, like, once we are rejected, we shut down. Is I'm done with this, and I I will be mediocre. I'm okay with being mediocre with whatever it is in life, knowing truthfully inside of you it's something that's like dig deeper. You can't, like, you cannot step. And I'm grateful, honestly, to be in a space where I have friends where, like, they're constantly pushing, they're constantly, seeking, dig deeper, because this is not you, this
Right.
is mediocre of you. And I feel like we all should have that space to where we have those people to tell us, like, you know what, you selling right now, and it don't make no sense how much you selling. You need to be ashamed with how much you selling. And I actually asked my attendant, and I was like, "What? How am I feeling?" But to hear it, it was kind of like a, not
Yeah.
necessarily a slap in the face, but it's kind of like, well, Shana, they see it. Why don't you see it? Is it because you've been so bombarded with rejection? Like, what really is? And it goes into the introspective. Like, I have to do the inner work. Like, okay, you know what, Shania? You have a few things that is stemming from here, here, and here. The reason why you can't necessarily see why the rejection is stemming you here. And so, I don't know, this conversation is just bringing me so much, like, joy, because
I'm glad. I'm glad, especially,
yes,
like I said, when you were candid and transparent about your own, you know what I'm saying, like, things that you were just, experiencing right before this. And so having these type of nuggets, these little tidbits, just do help, because it's stuff for us to reflect back on.
yeah,
Because I haven't always been here, you know what I'm saying? Like this, even me having any type of knowledge about these things took me going through it myself and saying, okay, what we gonna do? Like, the work is in your lap. Like
experience.
it, yes, experience
Experience
is the
is your
best
best
teacher.
friend. Yes,
Like it had to sit in my lap for me to realize how to handle things. And not to even say that I always handled everything perfectly, you know, but it was just again the experience, and knowing how to reflect and see, you know, areas where things could have been different, things could have been better. I wanted things to be better. But yeah, like I said, I just think it's a great space to be in when you've overcame the hurdle of like rejection, and you can look back and be like, wow, like all of
That
those
is
things
the
really happened to
greatest,
me.
like, yes, that's the greatest, like, I I don't know, it's just like you feel relieved, like
Yes.
you feel relief. You know, this morning I woke up when I finally like was getting myself together. I was like, God, you know what? I'm grateful that I was afflicted for that moment. Those 2 weeks, I'm glad that I was afflicted because I realized it wasn't like about me. I needed the experience to go forth with
Hmm.
whatever in this moment talking about. And
Yeah.
to see it like I'm flipping back through my head. You know what? I was like, you know what? I'm glad I was rejected from these things. I'm glad I was rejected from these people because they didn't line up with nothing in my values, my beliefs, and I was really selling. I'm glad somebody sat there in my face told me you ought to be ashamed that you selling right now. And so I don't know. I feel like with just two things come full circle. Like you
Hmm.
could be at half a circle, but when like you said, the moment where you reflect back on everything that happened, it comes full circle, and you can say to yourself, "I'm glad that this has happened because it has given me a different perspective in life. Really, a
Right.
different perspective. It has given me experience and all these things. So yes,
Yeah. And I think it also shows, you know, like things work out. You
yeah,
know, like things
it's not the end
work
of the
out.
world.
Right. It's not the end of the world. Like, and that was me.
Me,
I was
me.
just like, you know what? Okay, I'm done. You know, like that's it. Like
Yes.
that's just it. Throw in the tile. Like we'll start over. Like whenever. Right now, this is how I feel, and this is what I'm gonna go with. Right. And I am somebody who believes, yes, sit with your feelings for a second. Deal
Hmm.
with that. Because if you don't, that turns into suppression. Right.
Yeah.
And so that can then stem for a lot of different mental, you know, this mental health disorders and things like that. So if we're talking about feeling your feelings, you do have to do that. But after you feel them, you can't stay right there.
You can't sit in them.
You can't sit in them because that in itself, like again, that's only going to make you sad. That's not going to get you where you need to be. Um, so yeah, I think it's just important to know, you know what I'm saying, like that it's okay and it's normal to get rejected. One,
Yeah.
feel the way we feel, respond, our body having those bodily responses to that, and people are going to be experienced, and that's not going to be the last time that happens to you. You
Yeah.
know, like I think that's the biggest thing. Like it's a lot of more life left to live, and that means it's a lot of more rejection to be experienced.
A
Because
whole
again,
lot more to gain.
you're not going to get everything handed to you or everything that
Mm-mm.
you ask for. Even when you work for it, I think that's another sad thing. Like even when you've done and you've checked all of the boxes, so
Yeah.
you think that is not a guarantee that it's going to be given to you. So yeah.
I like that. That's good. That's really good. I feel like right now in this moment, I feel like this conversation is really like those transitioning. Um, I'm hoping this is helping somebody, but like I feel like those in that transition, like graduating high school, graduating college, just really any transition in life, honestly,
Mm-hmm.
because transitions are hard. There's not a
Yes.
playbook to how like it's supposed to happen. And I like how you mentioned like, you know, when it happens, it happens. It's
It
normal.
happens. It's normal. Like, yeah, like
And I feel
people.
like, go
Oh,
ahead.
go
I was gonna say I feel like people sometimes like we plan step by step in every day. Like we try to put in, you know, okay, this could happen, this could happen, this could happen. But rejection is one of those things like you don't see coming it all, no
It
matter
just happens.
like it just happens.
We don't
And
plan
so
for it. We don't plan for it.
yes.
We plan for, even when we're in like a job search, we plan for to get the offer. You know what I'm saying? Like, well, let me say me. I know when I get one interview, I'm kind of locked on that. Like, okay, this is it. Like, blase, blase, blase. And then when it don't happen, I feel like, okay, now I'm back to the drawing board. You know? So I think that we don't effectively, let me say, we don't effectively plan for rejection. And then because it always doesn't just manifest itself in the way that we thought. Like I said, for me, it wasn't even that I wasn't getting interviews. They just weren't able to offer me what I needed. So that's different in itself. Like, because you got people who can't even land the interview that would be looking like, you should have just took that because it's better than nothing. But it was like, no, like that's not going to benefit me in the long run. You know what I'm saying? Like, to just piggybacking off what we talked about earlier, not settling. Like, sometimes that makes the difference. And it's some things that we can't settle on. Like, in a sense, I settled on location before I would settle on salary, benefits, like these type of things. Like, okay, we can sort some things can be improvised and redirected, right? Everything can't be, because now you're just settling and getting whatever is being offered to you, and that's not self-care.
And then not only that, when you settle, say like you did settle, you have been in the experience, like you're back at the drawing board again. I think that's another conversation. Like, in rejection, you said some too when you were just talking, how man, I can't think, I lost my train of thought. God,
I hate when that happens.
I know, it was good too. But basically you were saying we're gonna come back. But when settling, you probably ended up in the position to where you had to go back to the drawing board and realizing too what settling does to you. Settling is basically you saying to yourself, I'm not worthy of this. I'm not worthy of, these things. And that's never true. Really having to realize, like, you gotta, woman to woman, all right, I'm worthy of this salary, I'm worthy of this job, and I'm worthy of this. Now, in my confidence, do I feel like I'm worthy? Because I feel like sometimes confidence is a barrier, because, like, we can know we're worthy, but really we don't have the confidence to really, like, project, like, to advocate for ourselves in those moments. And so I like how you mentioned not settling. That's an important thing with rejection. I realized what I was going to say. Settling, also, rejection, how we don't play a factor into like our emotions, like the emotions of rejection. Like, when it happens, we don't really count in like the factors of like how our emotions would be, kind of in that process. I guess, what's the word, pop off, how everything just pop off and stuff hit the ceiling. Yes. So personally, for me, when I went through these last 2 weeks, I did not factor in like my emotions and how, like, man, this really got to me. And I feel like sometimes we try to be like a bouncy ball, or like we're just full of armor. Like, we don't really like realizing how much more that hurts you when you actually don't sit through like that time and period to actually, okay, this is what's happening. Actually talking through everything that is going on and why you feel the way you feel, and like you said, what's your plan to what's next. This is good. This is good.
This is amazing.
Who's here? Do y'all have any questions?
Come on, Q&A.
Yes, let's do a Q&A. What are y'all doing? Ask us some questions. What are y'all feelings about rejection? Like, how do you kind of react to rejection? How does rejection sit with you? Is that it's one of those things where you're like, oh, it's all right, it is what it is? Or are you like me and rejection gets snappers you like, all right, girl, come here, I'm finna show you a lesson.
Like you were saying with the confidence earlier, like rejection, no matter who you are, I don't care. Rejection just shakes your confidence. Like, you can be or appear to be the most confident person, but when someone, again, keep something from you that you feel you deserve, that just comes with emotions. Like, regardless of, they just come with emotions, you know, whether it be, like I said, hopefully we can channel that into determination and consistency. But sometimes it just shows up as sadness, failure, like, and that's the ugly side of it. Like, that's the side that people don't sit with and realize, like, okay, this happens, this is happening, and what am I going to do with it? You know. But again, like I mentioned earlier, that's the difference between the people who who achieve their goals and the people who don't.
And I feel like rejection is it has two faces. Like, it's one of those things, like, it can cover itself up as elsewhere, if that makes sense.
Right.
But really and truthfully, the root rejection has a scary thing to where it can be rooted, and we don't even realize it. Even stuff from like our childhood,
Oh,
things
yes.
that right there, I feel I don't even know, but like I feel like rejection when you're a child is so much different than when you're adult. Of course, because you know you're different in age and you have more experience and you learn. But I feel like it's some stuff like we carry with us throughout life as a child. We don't realize till we're adult, and when we meet these things, like we're trying to get a job and we're like, oh my goodness, why is this gonna take me out? And realizing like some of this stuff, like it was rooted in the, like from a child. And so getting into the deep cleansing of like, okay, I need to correct this. Why is this here? Why is, what is going on? A prayer I've been really holding on to dearly is really asking God to give me grace to trust Him more. Because rejection is one of those things, especially I realized some of my when I was going through my rejection, it stemmed from like a little girl feeling the need to live up to certain things, and it's like,
Mm-hmm.
Shania, what is this, what like, be realistic with yourself. And I feel like sometimes we're not realistic. Like, we
Yes.
don't want to call out like, oh, this happened to me when I was a girl, and I don't want to go back and relive that's then, this is now. I need to live in the now. But truthfully, if you don't correct what was back then, now it can have the, not necessarily the power, but it can take you out. And it's one of those things to where you have to trust. You just have to trust the process. Like you say, you have to
Mm-hmm.
go through and really deal with the I guess the emotion of things. Yeah.
You do.
And
You have to.
so like I feel like this whole it's full circle for everything. Like there are different parts of rejection, but overall in this, when dealing with rejection, it's all about mindset, and it's all about, too, what you were saying, how it differentiates who is successful and who is not.
Mm-hmm.
So let's see, do we have, I want to thank everybody who has tuned in so far, who has listened to us. So grateful for you.
Right. I love that y'all pulled up.
Period. They gonna pull up for BOOGEE TALK.
I love that y'all pulled up and keep pulling up. They need to keep pulling up. This is just the beginning.
That's all I'm saying. Let's see. I don't have any other points that I can think of. I feel like we hit like
Yeah.
everything.
This was great. Like you said, it was very full circle. I think it shows you how, intertwined
Hmm.
rejection is in regards to, well, how I can say the overheaded conversation would be is how life itself is just a journey.
Yeah.
Like, we all have our own path. We go at it at our own speed. We go at it at our own journey. Like, it's for us to be, you know what I'm saying, like, on it,
Hmm.
right? And there's so many things that can affect what that journey looks like, from the environment we grew up in, the
Hmm.
environment we're currently in, the place that we want to be at. All of those things can factor in to our journey. And following the path trusting the path that unfolds out before us, you know, is not easy, is not always certain. Like, you're gonna be going down some roads that you don't know nothing about. You know, it's just gonna be what it is. But trusting that through the journey, through the process, it's gonna be some beautiful stops. It's gonna be some beautiful destinations. Like, and you're gonna eventually get to the space that you want to be in, and then knowing that that's only momentarily, right? Like, you should
enjoying the
always,
process.
right? Like, it's always a process. Like, I feel like you never truly get to the end of it because it's
You don't.
always a working thing. You don't get to the end of it until you're no longer breathing.
Yeah.
Like, every day, the full thing is always a journey, and we always have to be thankful for it. Thankful that we're still on the journey, that our journey looks the way that it does. Because again, not comparing, but the same way that we compare up, which I hate to do, you can also compare down. Like, you can always be like, well, these people's situation is 10,000 times worse than mine. I hate doing that. I hate doing that, you know what I'm saying? Because you don't want to feel good about someone else's bad space, but it does allow you to be like, ooh, well, that is something to be thankful for. You know, like, because it could be worse. It just could be worse. So I think that's an important nugget too, and just shows you how full circle it is. It's like, comparing in either way is not the best thing, but it does offer some type of insight.
Yeah.
And how we deal with it, how we respond to that, and what we do with the information is on us.
Yeah. And I feel like even the process of life is all about gaining insight, seeing things from a
Yes.
different perspective, seeing things from, you know, a different, someone else different walk, point of
Sure.
view. Because surely enough, our walk, everybody's walk is different, but our walk, sometimes we get so kind of tunnel vision on this one thing. It's almost like we have blockers. What's the thing on the car, like, where you can't see? We have like, they start with a B. Well, what is it? What is it?
I have no idea.
But we have these we have just this tunnel vision on how things should go in our life, and sometimes when we just put down, like, we get out the tunnel, we start to see like, oh my goodness, I never knew that light was there. I never knew this was there. I never knew this, you know, appreciating.
What are you trying to say, blinders?
Yes, blinders. Thank you, Charmaine. Because you know what, I blanked out from Charmaine.
That's my line brother. Shout out to him.
Oh, hey, thank you for joining. But yes, we have blinders sometimes on our perspective in life, and when those blinders come off, it's like, oh my goodness, is this what I've been missing? Is this, you know, I was sitting here complaining with the blinders on, but now that they're off, I'm starting to get this whole, like, reasoning as to why. So I know it's a beautiful journey.
It's a beautiful journey. It is.
I'm starting to be more appreciative of, you know, one, mindset and perspective, but two, realizing that after COVID, we don't have really any room to be ungrateful for really anything. We didn't have room to be ungrateful before, but actually, like, this year, I feel like everything this year, it was placed, like, stuff is being placed back in order. Like, you're starting to see, like, what you're gonna put on your agenda, and realize, like, some things it's not worth to put on our agenda after, you know, once this pandemic has passed over. It's not worth to be stuck, feeling like you're stuck in rejection. It's not worth it, because after all, you know, what's the commercial? I can see clearly now. The rain
is right.
So, like, seeing, like,
for sure though,
your rain is not always, like, it's not going to be here. Like, you know, why is raining? Go outside and, you know, play in the puddles, roll around in the mud, do what you got to do to get through the rain. But I don't know. I feel like this topic, it was near and dear to me. But actually, after experiencing, like, what I'm talking about, I'm like, okay, I understand, like, there's no room to really navigate being sad in rejection. Because I feel like that's what rejection is. It just makes you
Yeah.
you forget that you that chick. You know what I'm saying? You forget that you that dude. You know, you forget that you was hot girl last summer, but now you know where's
Right.
this where
It plays tricks on you for sure.
yes.
It
And
plays tricks on
so
you for sure.
hopefully this live gave in some point of view perspective of how rejection can play tricks and how to navigate it when it does. Yes. So,
I love the way we personified it.
yes. So, what would you say to someone that's dealing with rejection right now that may be watching this live, or someone who has experienced it in the last 3 to 6 months, and like they're in that point to like, oh, I'm okay, but residual rejection, like the thought of it coming back in mind, like, oh man,
Mhm.
this I don't know what is happening. What words would you have to say to them right now?
First, because I'm a shameless plug, I would say please go watch my last live. I did a whole little shindig and I talked about that from a personal
Yes,
experience.
go check him
And
out,
then two,
y'all.
I would say, which is I think the underlying theme of what we've been saying all day is, oh, what is this whole live is understanding how your mindset and your perspective while receiving and or experiencing rejection is the determining factor.
Hmm.
Like that is going to be the most important thing on how you advance and what your experience is while being rejected. You can't control being rejected, but you can control how you respond to it. You can be in control of what you do when it presents itself to you. So I would say that on top of using what we use every day, these our social medias, our phones, like our space, making sure that our space is filled with people who affirm, who offer us
Yeah.
assurance, reassurance, like people who are there when we're in those spaces where we're uncomfortable and we do just want to be human and we want to be sad. Having those people, like how you mentioned, said, I can't believe you're settling right now. Like those people who can just tap our hand and be like, hold on, wait a minute. Like this ain't
What you
you. Like,
doing?
let's get back. What you doing?
Hmm.
You have to make sure that those people are in your circle because even though our journey is a solo one, there are people we are meant to meet and connect and create and grow with throughout it. And you need to keep those people around, to be able to have a full garden. Gardens
I like that.
aren't full of one flower. Gardens aren't just one thing. Like you have to have a community of people to get a successful, beautiful garden. And I look at that in
Hmm.
regards to like people. If you want to go out in the world, you know what I'm saying, like and be fruitful and be intentional, you're going to have to be connected with people who are wanting to do the same. So changing your mindset, being in control of your perspective, and creating a space around you to where it's no room
Hmm.
to slack, to lack.
I like that.
Yeah, that's what I would say.
Um,
What would you say?
I would say, finding in that moment, well, first when rejection happened, when the event first happened, I would say finding that the thing that makes you happy, brings you comfort.
Ooh,
um
yes, that's good.
Not only that, get to that place of comfort. If you have to turn off your phone for a while, stay in that place of comfort until you feel like you're okay to come out of it. Like, no
Mhm.
one is telling you, like, okay, you just been rejected, so you got 48 hours to get yourself together, or you got
Right.
this amount of time to really, get into a better space. Rejection is one of those things where it's a process. Like, one day you'll be fine, but the next day it could pop up in your mind and you're
Yes.
back, with those feelings. I would say sit in those feelings. Don't try to run from. I feel like a lot of times we try to run for stuff, like we try to ignore the initial feeling. Find your comfort, sit with it, and heal. Like really heal.
Heal.
If it's a thing to like as far as like your career, really ask yourself, this job that I applied to do, that what would be my position in this company if I were to accept, or if they would offer me a job? Would I really felt like I would have benefit or grew from this experience with this company? Because sometimes when we look back at it, we look at, this job, I would have been working all day, all week. I wouldn't have had time to see my family. I wouldn't have had time to really have self-care. And so really
Right.
looking at the aspects of, I had a no from them, but like really, can I reverse it to why, it's a not a no but a redirection for me.
Yes.
Um and like you said, surround yourself with good people. Surround yourself with I like to think of voices that know you and voices that kind of mimic like the voice of God, if that makes sense.
Hmm.
Remembering like God is patient and God is kind, He's loving, He's not boast. Surround yourself just with that energy to, have people to remind you who you are. Because sometimes we all need a little reminder, like, Shania, when I
Oh,
first met you, you your focus was it. What has your focus now? Why have you lost it? And so really getting around people that know you, that's most that, are
hmm,
close to you. Let's see, is there anything else? Not taking it personal.
yeah.
That's
That
a
was the
big one
thing that
for
we kept
me.
saying too. Yeah.
hmm
Hmm.
That was a big thing for me. I take a lot of stuff personal, and it's not meant to be taken personal. And I feel like I take it personal because in some way there's something in me. I have to find what is in me, or like what is that root to why I'm taking it so personal. And
Hmm.
so once you remove that, you're like, okay, well, it makes sense. Like it makes sense. Um, I had my little 2 weeks. I was down, but now this week I'm like, it makes sense. Like I'm glad
Yeah.
I went through those 2 weeks because I don't know. Experience is everything. Experience is the best teacher, like we were saying earlier. And I feel like a lot
Sure.
of us, we don't really urge to find the experience.
Hmm.
Um,
Yeah.
I feel like we don't. I don't know. In sense, it's certain experience that we want, but it's certain experience we try to avoid going through. But the experience we avoid going through, that is the best experience to have, because it shapes
For
you,
sure.
it molds your character. And also, this I will say this: I've learned my character. Really learned, like sometimes you learn about yourself, things you did not know about
Most
yourself.
definitely.
um, we think we know it all about ourselves and what we do and do not like, but truthfully, you learn new things about yourself every time rejection happens to you. Things you could work on, but things you did not even know that was there. So yeah, that's what
For
I would
sure.
say.
That's good. All good nuggets that the people can use. The people who were on the live, the people who are going to go back and watch.
And I hope
Um,
this bless their hearts, bless their soul. And
for
I
sure.
pray just for a rest. If you're dealing with rejection right now, I pray that you just have a sense of rest and peace while watching this. Know that we are here.
For sure.
Bougie has an open prayer line 24/7. So like you feel like you just need to slide in our DMs anytime, like, hey, I'm dealing with rejection right now. We would pray for you, we would be there for you. But I'm just grateful that I feel like this is gonna be a safe place for someone somewhere. I pray that if you're watching, I pray that you have peace and you have rest, and knowing that everything is gonna be all right. I think that's another thing we need to all sometimes like remind ourselves, like this is just it's gonna be all right. Like
This is temporary.
yeah,
This is temporary. This isn't a lasting effect. This isn't something that, this isn't the end of the world. Like, it's
yeah,
no, this is not this is not something that you can't come back from.
yeah. And I saw a post on Facebook not too long ago. It was like, you could literally come back for anything. It's just about mindset. And I was like, you know what? That is true. That
Very.
is very true. You can come back from anything. It's a mindset. So yeah, I'm praying for a mindset. So tonight that, if you feel like yours is not the strongest, or you feel like you need to, gain experience in some areas of your mindset, I'm praying on behalf of that tonight, because I know I am one. My mindset needs a little tweaking, and I think
Come on,
it comes up.
transparency.
Yeah, it comes a place to where we need a little tweaking. Like, we just need to,
Mm-hmm.
screw the little bull a little bit tighter, because
Tune up.
we need to tune up. We didn't let it get loose from, I guess, things surrounding us. So I am so happy we had this conversation. I feel like this is a good
Same.
conversation. We should do a talk show, because I feel like we
A
did
great talk show.
good.
That's my goal in life anyway, to sit on my own couch, or have people sit on my own couch and talk to them.
It's gonna happen.
Yeah.
I could see you with like a green sofa,
Come on, green. I'm gonna
or
remember
maybe a
that.
blue.
Blue is my favorite color. I have no shame.
I feel like you'll change in between season. Like season 1, you'll have green. Season 2, you go
You
blue.
know me.
I feel,
Clearly, you know me.
I feel like every season you're just gonna change the sofa color. So, and like people are just gonna look forward. What color is the sofa?
What's the new color? You know what? I like that. I'm gonna remember that. And on my first couch change, I'm gonna be like, guys, this was recommended to me in 2021 by my great friend Shania.
Remember, let me be the first to sit on it. That's all I ask. Just let me come have
Say less. Say less. Say
That's it.
less.
That's all. I am glad that y'all showed up. What time is it? I feel like, child, we did good timing. We did good timing.
That's great. I'm glad. I be always so scared that I talk so much it's gonna be a long live.
Me too. I feel like I just blabble sometimes. It's like, where are you getting to? Like, what is your problem? We did good timing. I didn't even realize it was 7. I'm thinking like it's still 6 something. Well, you have anything else you want to add?
No. Follow me on all my social handles, Lundy, LUNDEE. On Instagram is just .tv. Of course, I'm already tagged on Facebook because you're here. But yeah, that's all I'm saying.
I put it in the. Okay, there we go. Ooh, child, this light is blinding me. Autocorrect is the worst.
Oh, it's not nobody's friend.
Let's see. Don't you have like a period in your Instagram?
Yeah, so it's LUNDEE.TV.
Okay. Make sure I get it right.
But I think I'm the only one with Lundy on Instagram anyway, like even in the beginning, so that's great.
Yes, I just put that. It's was pinned comment.
So with Instagram, it's just like the normal TV. But like I said, even yeah, it's just a normal TV. But I like how they look. I may change it.
Child, let's see. Oh, child, y'all seeing my roof? I'm trying to see. My phone is so. It was light change every time I get on here. Like, I can't see my comments no more. I just saw.
It's fine.
Yeah. Well, thank y'all for tuning in. Chat with us. Follow us on social media. Follow me. I am Shania T. Moore on Facebook, but you can follow BOOGEE TALK at BOOGEE Boutique. Eventually, we will have our own page, but right now, we're just going to go under BOOGEE Boutique, BOOGEE Boutique. And I'm hoping someone gains something from this. Follow us on Instagram at ShopBoogieB. Yes, and make sure you
And
follow.
shop.
Yes, shop. Really, right now, so I'm revamping. So everything is down right now. We working on it. It's a process. It's one of those things. I just being a one person show, we gonna have employees by the end of the year. But yes, shop when we come back up. Make sure you follow our guests at Lundy TV, TV, TV now on
Now on
Instagram, not TEEVEE,
Instagram. Not T.
but follow him on Facebook and Instagram. And yeah, we're just excited. Make sure you like, share, comment, tag your friends in this. If at some point you have I guess just a aha moment in our life, let us know. Let us know if you carried anything from this. We're excited. I'm excited because this is our first episode. I'm just excited to see where this carries on to. And we will have Mr. Lundy TV back again.
Please,
Again.
please, please. I really enjoyed
What?
this. So here's to future conversations. Here's for me being in the
Yes.
audience. I love being in the comments. So
Yes.
I can't wait to see all the other people
Here.
that you're gonna bring on.
Yes. Excited. So we're gonna end this and playback should be available. So see y'all later. Love y'all. Thank
Peace.
you so much.
See y'all.